What happens when you don't disclose your foreign assets to the CRA? Potentially massive penalties. Make sure you watch this video if you want to avoid a nasty surprise from the CRA. Hi, I'm Sonia. I'm a CPA licensed in both Canada and the US. I'm a cross-border tax consultant and co-author of my new book, Your Move to Canada, all about investing, financial planning, and tax planning as it relates to being in Canada and moving to Canada from the US. So what happened here? This is a recent court case where an individual was appealing some penalties that were levied against her by the CRA for failing to file Form T1135. So what is this form here? On the second page of your tax return, you may notice this question they always ask you, whether or not you have more than $100,000 of specified foreign property. And most people answer no. But a lot of people think specified foreign property, I don't have any foreign property outside Canada, and they just say no. But what is specified foreign property? Specified foreign property isn't just property in the sense of what we think of real estate. Specified foreign property can include the following, and this is straight from my book, Your Move to Canada. I have a whole chapter on foreign asset disclosure and how to avoid penalties and what to do if you fail to report these forms. So it could be things like bank accounts outside Canada, real estate outside Canada unless it's personal use, shares of non-Canadian corporations, even if held in a Canadian brokerage, although if they're in registered accounts in Canada, they'll be excluded. So those are the main ones that people have to be concerned about. So going back to this court case, essentially what happened is she realized she should have been filing these T1135 forms and she hadn't. So she had an accountant fix this for her for like 5 years through Canada's voluntary disclosure program. And then she was able to alleviate those penalties because she used the voluntary disclosure program. But then what happened is she stopped using a professional accountant, and then she did some of her own research and said, I don't have to file T1135 for 2019 and 2020. But in fact, what happened was she had stocks of non-Canadian corporations in her non-registered account. So think she had Apple stocks, Nvidia stocks, Amazon, with a cost basis exceeding $100,000. But it was in a Canadian brokerage. She thought it wasn't foreign assets. But indeed, she did have to file it. And the court effectively said, you did not act like a reasonable person because you stopped working with a professional accountant, and therefore we are not going to grant you penalty relief. And because you just didn't file those 2 forms for these 2 years, there's $5,000 worth of penalties that are going to be applied. The maximum penalty for the T1135 is $2,500 per year that it's missed. So overall, moral of the story is seek professional guidance. Don't think that property just means real estate. It could be other types of foreign assets too, even if held in a Canadian brokerage. If you're serious about learning how to actually benefit from our Canadian tax system and grow your investments and wealth, check out my new book, Your Move to Canada,